type in the chat box any of your thoughts and any of your questions that you would like to ask. But for now, I want to give you a minute to get maybe a paper and a pencil, because we would like you to engage in some of the activities that we're going to participate in. So go ahead and do that if you can get a paper and a pen. Okay, so before our session, we want to do something that we do on a daily basis, but we don't actually focus on. So I want you to focus on your breathing. We're going to do an exercise. So wherever you are sitting right now, whether it's on your chair or on your sofa, I want you to sit straight. I want you to put your feet on the ground, put your hands on your lap, and I want you to just listen to my instructions of our breathing exercise. Now we're going to do something that you can do on a daily basis. The breathing exercise is called 4x4, which means that you can inhale for 4 seconds and exhale for 4 seconds. Now at any point, you might have thoughts that can come to your mind, and it's okay. You can acknowledge your thoughts, but little by little, just push it away and focus on your breath. So let's start. If you're all just seated right now, again, put your feet on the ground, put your hands on your lap, close your eyes, and imagine yourself in one of your favorite places. It can be your garden, it can be your home, it can be one of your favorite travel trips. And just close your eyes and inhale for 4 seconds. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhale for 4 seconds. 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to do 3 more rounds. Inhale for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 4 seconds. 2, 3, 4. 2 more rounds. Inhale for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 4 seconds. 2, 3, 4. Last one. Inhale for 4 seconds. 2, 3, 4. And exhale. 2, 3, 4. Now, this breathing exercise is very important because you can do it at any time you feel stressed, at any time during the day. It will just make you grounded and bring you back to the moment and bring you back to what you need to focus on. And it's very important during stress to know that when you are stressed, your performance starts to reduce a little. So these kind of breathing exercises will bring you back to your performance or to increase your performance. Now we're going to go through 4 objectives. We're going to talk about what is stress, what causes stress, and the strategies to reduce stress. And we're also going to talk about strategies for dealing with stress. Now I know during this unprecedented crisis, a lot of us are going through stress. It can be because of work. You're working from home. You might be working longer hours than you're used to. And you might be focused more on your laptops all through the day or your PCs. You might have, and this is a shout out for mothers working at home and fathers working at home as well. You might have also your children working from home, and you also have to focus on their studies as well. So this is a good training for us to talk about what causes our stress and what is stress. And we're going to talk about different strategies to reduce our stress and on how to deal with stress. So what is stress? We all talk about stress, and maybe we don't know what are the symptoms, what are the things that are actually obvious on us or on our daily lives, physically, whether it's mentally, whether it is emotionally. So all of this we're going to go through. Now, stress is the way that you react physically, mentally, and emotionally to various conditions, changes, and demands in your life. And nowadays, what we're going through with the COVID-19 is something that has changed our lives. Maybe some of you had travel plans and you had just stopped it because of the situation we are in. It might be you had many different other plans, and this has changed. So this has also might have caused some stress. And something you should know is that high levels of stress can affect your physical and mental well-being, and also your performance at work or your studies as well. So for those of you who have joined us, who are students, so we're welcoming you here to talk about stress. Now, what are the different symptoms of stress? Headaches, if you have constant headaches, it might be because of stress, one, or because of your long screen time. A nervous stomach, it can be because before of an exam that you have, or maybe an important presentation, you can feel very nervous and you might have a nervous stomach. Change in appetite. Now, here it differs from one person to another. Some of us might have a lower appetite. We might not feel the urge to eat more often. And some of us might have the opposite reaction. So some of us might eat more during stress. So it depends. And I would actually like to hear your thoughts about this. So if you can write in the chat box, which I will check from time to time, what kind of person are you during stress? Whether you have a low appetite or your appetite increases during stress. Rapid breathing. So if you feel like you are breathing and you cannot control it, you can also use your breathing exercises to lower your rapid breathing as well. Rapid heart rate, which also is affected by the breathing and the oxygen level. Sweaty palms. Irritability, you're always irritated. Anxiety, which we'll also talk about. Fatigue, you're always tired. You always feel that you have a need of rest, and that's why I've heard a lot of people who are working from home that at some point during the afternoon they feel so exhausted and they just need some rest, and that's because in the office you're used to walking around, going to the printer, maybe going to speak to colleagues, but at home it's different. You don't have time to walk around and have your blood flow in the body, so it causes a lot of fatigue. Now, another thing is insomnia. You're not being able to sleep properly, and this is something I've also heard from a lot of people during this time. Dissatisfaction. You always are dissatisfied by what's going on. Anger is also a symptom, depression, and inability to concentrate. Now, we're going to talk about the different reasons of why we have stress, and also feel free to write down in the chat box, which I'm going to take a moment to look at. Okay, so Stephanie says, I have a sweet tooth person and the lockdown is not helping. So apparently she eats a lot of sweets, maybe when she's stressed. Okay, so now you all have a pen and a paper and a pen, hopefully. And I want you to do this reflection situation, which we will look back at later on during the session. I want you to write a brief description of a recent situation that caused you stress. And just reflect on it. Just summarize your mental, your emotional, and your physical states at the time. And also reflect on what do you do as a person that puts your mental health at risk. So I want you to write those down while listening to the session and reflect on that. And later on, we're also going to talk about this exercise that we have just done. Now, what causes stress? Anxiety is one. And what is anxiety? Briefly, because there's a long list of different kinds of anxieties, but briefly we're going to talk about it because it's not our main focus right now, is the uneasiness and distrust about future uncertainties. And a lot of people might face this now during the situation. It's because we have a lot of uncertainty. We don't know when this will end, and we are hoping that it will end soon. But still, we don't know. We have no answers, and this uncertainty will create anxiety. Another thing that causes stress are different changes in our life. Expectations or demands. It could be marriage, it could be divorce, maybe pregnancy, a certain illness, a load of bills that we have, the increasing demands of a university course load, again, for university students with us. So these cause stress as well. Now, a third point that causes stress is disorganization, I'm sorry. And when you feel unprepared. It could be you feel unprepared because you have a presentation or you have a meeting that you're unprepared for and you feel like you're helpless or powerless. It can also cause stress. And a short brief about myself. I trained, when I first joined Emirates Foundation, I trained in the SANET program, which most of you might know, that SANET is the National Emergency Response Volunteer Program. And it was very important that volunteers who are now on the front line, it's very important that the leaders who are with them to make sure that the volunteers or anyone in your team, maybe as staff members, are briefed before any kind of event as to reduce the kind of stress on the team members. So this is one of the things that leaders or volunteer leaders or managers should prepare or be organized in. Another thing is physical constraints. Now, physical exhaustion, maybe a lack of exercise and diet strategies. And this is the right time to do the things that you love or the exercises that you love. It can be, there are a lot and different kinds of exercises you can do in your home. One of the things that I do is yoga. I practice yoga on a daily basis, and it helps me a lot with the physical exhaustion. So it brings back the blood flow into my body, and it also reduces a lot of stress during the days. And of course, diet strategies, which we will talk about on a later stage. Another thing is time constraints. Maybe some of you have a lot of deadlines now. So also time constraints might cause stress. Another thing which we are all going through is the increase of use of social media. I'm sure you all agree with me right now. We are all kind of addicted to social media, and we are using a lot of our time to look at our phones, look at other people's lives. So comparing yourself to others will definitely cause a lot of stress and a lot of screen time and a lot of news intake, especially nowadays. We just want to see what's going on in the world, looking at different countries, what they're going through. We're not telling you not to check the news. It is important, but try to limit your news intake. So before we go on, I would like you to just write in the chat box, what are the things each one of you does to reduce when you have any stress? So what do you do to reduce your stress? And I'm going to pause a little to check. Okay, for some reason the chat box is not opening, but I will check them as soon as I stop sharing the screen. So please write down what do you do to reduce your stress? And I would love to see different thoughts. Maybe we can, even if I don't see it, maybe you can give each other some ideas on how you can reduce stress. Okay, strategies to reduce stress. The first thing you should do is take control. Manage your time instead of letting it manage you. And the best way to do that is to have a to-do list for the day. Even if you have not much to do and you're at work, having a to-do list for your tasks at work is also very important. And follow a plan and set goals to follow through that. And avoid procrastination. And it is a major, major cause of stress. So now I've heard from the Live from Home team that they will be having time management sessions ongoing. So we won't focus a lot on time management, but just as a tip, make realistic list of things you need to do every day. So make it realistic so that you will be able to accomplish it by the end of the day. And set them in priorities. So we have a list in front of us, and we want to address the important things we need to do first. And then we would do the less important things later on if we have time. And we don't have to beat ourselves up. Even if we didn't finish our tasks by the end of the day, it's still okay. We can keep the less important tasks for the day after. So in that way, you will have the most important things done first, and then the less important things done on the days later. Another thing to do, or another strategy to reduce stress is take a break. And taking a break is important. Even the mothers that are at home, you need to have time for yourself. You need to take a break. It is better to get away from the situation that is stressful for a short time, maybe take a walk, focus on pleasant thoughts, and then go back to your tasks at home or wherever you're having your isolation phase right now, and feel refreshed to tackle whatever it is that you have to do. Especially to increase your performance as well. Because if you're tired and you are stressed, you won't have the right energy to fulfill what you need to do. Now, another thing we also advise everyone is to get help. If you feel that your anxiety or your stress is an overload and you cannot do it on your own, it is always a good idea to get help. Maybe see your instructor if it's at work, go to tutoring, participate in groups, keep in touch with friends and family. Now is a very important time to keep in touch with your friends and family, and develop like a support group to support each other in these difficult times. Some of the ideas that we do, my friends and I, and now Zoom, as you can see, we're on a Zoom webinar. My friends and I, we sit together on Zoom, of course, virtually, and we set, like, let's say a dinner date, for example, and we sit and talk and have dinner together. So these are some of the ideas you can do with your friends and family. Now, physical stress busters are that you have to eat properly, exercise regularly, and get plenty of rest. And now we're going to talk about eating properly and what are the different kinds of food that would actually cause a lot of stress. And these are for students, because I know that maybe a lot of our volunteers on volunteers.ae are students and are with us online right now. If you have stress because of a certain presentation or an exam that you're preparing for, practice is the best way to reduce your stress and build your confidence. Do more math problems. If you have difficulty with math, practice test taking at home and online. There are a lot of things you can do online. And if it's a speech that you're doing, rehearse your speech in front of family. So yeah, practice. So after we have talked about the different strategies, I want you to go back to the paper you have put in front of you and look at the stressful incident that you have described. And now, after you've seen the strategies that we have spoken about, or maybe strategies you already know or you already do, list some strategies for dealing with the situation. List some things you could have done to prevent it from being stressful, and list some ways you can avoid a reoccurrence of such a situation in the future. And self-reflecting is important. We need to, even if at the point when you're stressed, you cannot do the self-reflection, maybe at a point where you are not stressed anymore and you want to go back to that certain stressful incident, keep on repeating this self-reflection, and it will make you better and better later on during stressful incidents to reduce the amount of stress that you're feeling. Another strategies for dealing with stress. No one can avoid stress all the time. In a stressful situation, the next tips are to help you to overcome the effects of stress. Join the crowd. Even though you may think you are the only person in the world who is experiencing stress, I want you to know that everyone at some point experiences it at the same time. So you are not alone. We are all in this together. And this might decrease the fact that you're stressful and the fact that you need to deal with your stress. Talk to someone. And it is important that you do not deal with it on your own. If you feel that if you can deal with it on your own, that's a good thing. But if you feel like you cannot deal with it on your own, it's important to talk to someone, find someone you trust, discuss your problems with them, and together you can find solutions for that. Put it in perspective, your stressful incident. Chances are that this stressful incident is only one small part of the rest of your life. And that's why I mentioned a couple of times that self-reflection is important. To every time you encounter a different stressful situation, it will become less and less stressful because of that. Visualize. And that's why at the beginning of the session, with your breathing exercise, it is important to think about also your favorite place or a place that makes you feel comfortable. When you're visualizing, sit comfortably and think of a favorite place. And don't forget your breathing exercises. And actually, we repeat that over and over again about breathing, because it will actually, and this is in the next slide that we're going to talk about, it increases the dose of oxygen in your body and it increases the brain's thinking ability. So you can focus more on what's actually stressing you out and you can deal with it better. And try when you're breathing, in your breathing exercises, try to do it when you are somewhere alone and there are not a lot of people around, so that you can focus more on your breathing exercise. Now, exercising while you're sitting down, and this is also for people who are working from home as well, and I do understand because I also work from home. And there are a lot of times where if I want to focus on myself and see what's actually stressing me out, I can see in parts of my body, and I don't know if you agree with me, is that you feel that your shoulders and your head are tense. And not only that, you feel that your jaw is tense as well. And if I want you now to feel those sensations while you're sitting and watching this session, try to see if you are actually feeling that and reflect on it. So there are a lot of exercises you can do. You can research some things to do, but I have just put some tips you can do at home. So when you feel a bit tense, you can roll your head loosely in a wide circle and repeat it for 5 times. This would actually reduce the tension in your neck. And there are also exercises you can do for your shoulders, and you can roll your shoulders as far as possible and then relax it slowly. And you can repeat these with either both your shoulders, or either or, depends where your tension is. And it will also give you an excuse to actually take a break from what you're doing or the tasks you are doing. And for your jaw tension, the only thing you can do is maybe try to open your mouth a couple of times and see whether it will loosen you up. Now, you are what you eat, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard this phrase, and it is actually true. A lot of the food we eat are actually reasons for making us feel stressed, and one of them is sugar. Try to eat light most of the time, especially when you have a stressful situation, like you have an exam or an important presentation or an important meeting at work. Try to avoid sugars and eat light. It will help you with performance. And always remember that, and I'm sure a lot of you know that, if you have a meal that has high carbs, it will put you to sleep. You will feel very sleepy. So if you have an important presentation to do or meeting, avoid high carb meals as to avoid for you to feel sleepy. Now, some things you can drink or eat that will reduce your anxiety or stress. Feel free to have herbal tea. It will make you feel the warmth in the tea will make you feel more relaxed. Dark chocolate, and I'm sorry for those who don't like dark chocolate, but dark chocolate is one of the types of chocolate that reduces your anxiety or stress. Avocados, because it has omega-3 and it will actually make you feel less stressed. And some foods high in fiber will also reduce your stress. Now, something that I personally suffer from is water. I know you've heard this a lot. Water is very important. I mean, it is the source of life. I personally suffer at home because my mother is currently around, and she keeps following me with a water bottle because I don't like water. I don't drink water much, but I am trying my best to do so. And studies have shown that dehydration leads to a higher cortisol level, which is the stress hormone. So it's making it hard to deal with everyday issues. So by staying hydrated, you'll be better equipped to deal with everyday problems. Now, how much should we drink per day? Drink at least 2 liters of water and use reminders. Now, sometimes you forget. You have a lot of things on your mind. You have a lot of things to deal with, and sometimes you forget, and this is the excuse I use. Sometimes you forget to drink water. So with technology now, you have a lot of reminders. There are a lot of apps that I have found that will actually have reminders, like pop-up reminders that will remind you to help to remember to drink water. So again, water is very important to reduce the amount of stress that you have. And it might be one of the reasons that you actually feel stressful and because of the dehydration. So drink water. Now, another thing that I want to personally talk about is it's important that you feel whatever you need to feel. And another thing that maybe people would feel more stressed on is if they have a certain feeling, which usually is a negative feeling. For example, if you feel upset or sad from a certain situation, it's okay to feel what you need to feel. Do not beat yourself up for being upset. And if you are stressed, take a break, cool down before you react or do anything that you don't want to do. So again, do not beat yourself up from being or feeling any feeling that you have. And again, going back to limiting your screen time. Now, we have discussed this a lot of times in previous webinars, and look for the silver lining in this unprecedented crisis. What is positive about it? And the positive thing is that now we have more time to do the things we love. We have a lot of time to spend. And instead of sitting and either the screen time, we mean using your TV, using your phones, using your laptops for work, using your iPad or any tablet, kind of type tablet. So all of this is also stressful. So we need to reduce the amount of screen time. And what can we do? So another thing I want you to type in the chat box, if you all are, is what can you do to reduce screen time? So I put some of the things that I'm doing. It can be reading our favorite book. So now I have the time to read my personal favorite book. Listening to music, it's one of the things that relaxes me personally, or even cooking. A lot of people have now the time to try different kind of recipes, whether it is baking or cooking a certain type of food. So now is the time to do what we love. And this is something that I have discussed previously with a lot of my mentors. Even if we have stress, use it. And how do we use it? So stress is sometimes a good thing. And why is it a good thing? Now, athletes use it to increase performance. So when they're stressed before a certain game, for example, a lot of them say that they actually use it to increase their performance. And it will help you to keep active and alert. You can use it to increase your performance on a personal level, whether it's at work. So a lot of my colleagues and we have talked about this several times, that if we have a deadline and we're working under stress, it will actually make us perform better. And the last part, it helps to keep your ego in check. And what do I mean by that? And I'll share a personal experience. I am a student pilot, and I have been flying since 2018. And for the first couple of times when I used to fly, I used to feel very stressed. And sometimes I would actually even cancel my flights because it was something very new to me. So whenever I used to go and tell my flight instructor and share with him that, okay, I'm feeling so stressed and I don't know if I can fly today, the first thing he would tell me is that every pilot feels stressed, even if they have been flying for 50 years. And it is important that they feel stressed as to keep their ego in check and not to overdo things during flight. And this would actually make them focus on keeping a safe flight and safe passengers. So this is from a personal experience as well. Now, as a summary, before we open up for Q&A, and the Q&A would be also in the chat box. If you have any questions you would like to ask, or if anything you would like to share, please feel free. So as a summary, stress is mental, emotional, and physical tension, strain, or distress. So the signs of stress are classic. You may get a headache, you might have a stiff neck, backache, become irritable, lose your temper, and you may feel exhausted and find it hard to concentrate. When these symptoms do appear, recognize them as signs of stress and find a way to deal with them. Just knowing why you're feeling the way you are may be the first step in actually coping with the problem. And as I said earlier, it is very important to self-reflect. For those of you, I'll go back to the slide. For those of you who have joined us later on and didn't check the exercise that we have done, I'll go back as to look at the different questions you want to ask yourself when you are self-reflecting. And thank you so much. We will not end the session right now. I'll just go back to the exercise that I spoke about. And for those of you who joined us at a later stage in this session, reflect on a stressful situation. Write a brief description of a recent situation that causes stress. I have some sun in my face, so I'll just scoot a little over. So write a brief description of a recent situation that caused you stress. Summarize your mental, emotional, and physical state at that time. And what do you do on a daily basis that puts your mental health at risk? And after you're done with this exercise and you have read about the different strategies, I want you to go back, and I'll go back to the self-reflection again and list some strategies for dealing with the situation. List some things you could have done to prevent from being stressful, and list some ways you can avoid a recurrence of such a situation in the future. So this self-reflection exercise is important to keep on repeating every time you're in a stressful situation. So I'll try to open now the chat box and see if we have any questions. For some reason, I cannot open the chat. Okay, so some of you have shared different things to do when you're stressed. I have, okay, I talked to my meditation from Jamil. Jamil mentioned that meditation helps a lot. And the breathing exercise that I have done at the beginning of the session is very important, that you keep repeating. It's a kind of a meditation to actually visualize. And why is it a meditation? It is because with meditation, we want to actually remove the thoughts that are coming into our mind because of stressful situations. And focusing on our breathing will help us to keep our thoughts away. And even at sometimes you get those thoughts, it's okay. You can just acknowledge them and push them away. Another person wrote, I talk to my niece and loved ones to calm down. It is important to share your thoughts or to talk to your friends and family. And we have mentioned that in the session a couple of times. Cooking, okay, cooking will reduce stress. Calling your friends or call your colleague. Anything productive that I love. Go to the gym or beach. Usually I set a timetable and sort the things that I have to do. So unfortunately now with the situation, as you know, some of the gym, actually maybe all of the gyms and beaches are closed. And but that doesn't mean that you cannot exercise at home. There are a lot and different kinds of exercises you can do at home to reduce your stress. Home workout, chatting with my best friend, attending online courses, and that will improve my skills. And this is something that we would like to address, that my colleagues at Life from Home have different kinds of sessions that you can attend to and webinars. So please feel free to follow us on our social media, either EF Youth or volunteers.ae, where you can find or you can attend different kinds of webinars to help you improve your skills, and there are different variations. Another person wrote, shifting thoughts to being in the present moment rather than focusing on the uncertain future, which is also important. Reading a book, which I mentioned as well. For me, I start my day with cooking, music, and finish my day with reading, which is amazing. Personally, as well, music helps me a lot. Thank you for the water drinking reminder. Yes, I have that reminder on my phone. You have a lot of technology now, and downloading an app to help you remind you to drink is actually there. So please search for it and do that to help you drink water more. This is amazing. How can I reflect during times of overthinking? Okay, so with overthinking and this is one of the reasons that a lot of us feel anxious and stressful. And with overthinking, meditation helps a lot, and focusing on now rather than the future or the uncertainties will help a lot with overthinking. Another person asked, I have less sleep, what can I do? Okay, so there are a lot of things you can do. I'll just share a couple of things you can do. First of all, you can exercise maybe right before you sleep as to tire yourself to immediately go to bed. And there's another breathing exercise that I will end this session with. For those of you who would like a nap after this session, there's another breathing exercise that will help you to sleep, and we will do that together in a while. So yes, this will also help you. Work stress is on another level in the lockdown, and I'm trying to get through it, but sometimes it's not helping and it's getting harder. Yes, we are all stressed in these times, and just taking breaks during the day to do whatever you want to do will help a lot to actually make you focus on what's important. Especially with those who are working or volunteering nowadays in these certain times. So taking breaks during work times. I have an overthinking problem. I hope the previous overthinking problem actually answered the question. I think lavender helped with stress because I had the same problem. Yes, some essential oils actually help reduce stress, which you can actually research and Google. Lavender is one of those essential oils that help. And someone else shared, some people's mindset is negative without knowing they affect others and contribute to further stress. What do you say to them? Okay, now it's normal that people actually go through stress, and there's a research that says that 70% of our thoughts are actually negative, and this is something that we cannot control. But it is important that you do not affect others' mood around you. And for those, I tell them, whenever you feel stressed or you feel upset or you feel angry, try to remove yourself from that situation and remove yourself from people around you. Try to find ways, as I said, and as we discussed today, there are a lot of ways to reduce stress. Try to reflect on what you're going through and what you're feeling. And try not to, and if you want to discuss this with anyone, try not to approach in a negative way. Try to approach in a way that you are seeking help, or you want to express what you're actually feeling. And yes, we're all in this together. So we're all here to listen to what you want to say. Okay, so since we have 15 more minutes to the end of the session, I want to end this session by another breathing exercise that will help you to sleep. A lot of you might be sitting at home or right before you sleep, you don't even feel like you want to sleep, but you're tired and your body says you're tired. So I want you to take a minute to adjust yourself or adjust your seating. And if you want to lay down on the floor or lay down on your sofa or even on your bed, please do so. And I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to adjust your seating right now. And this type of exercise, breathing exercise, is nice to do before you sleep, and it will actually make you feel sleepy, and it will actually make you focus more on your breathing, and it will help you to sleep faster. So if you're all adjusted now in your positions, I want you to again close your eyes. I want you to put one hand on your heart and another hand on your tummy. And when you inhale, or when I ask you to inhale, I want you, instead of filling your chest, I want you to fill your tummy with the air that you're intaking. And after that, instead of, and when you're exhaling, I want you to also to exhale from your mouth and not from your nose. So we're going to intake or inhale for 4 seconds, and I want you to exhale for 8 seconds. And we're going to do that. And again, I'll remind you, put one hand on your heart and another hand on your tummy. Okay. I want you now to inhale for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 8 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't forget to fill your tummy now. And inhale for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, inhale for 4 seconds. 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'll do 2 more rounds. Inhale for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now the last round, I want you to take a really deep inhale for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale for 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, I want you to bring back some activity into your hands and toes, or into your fingers and toes, and open your eyes slowly. I want you to tell me or share with us, what did you actually feel after this breathing exercise? And again, I would like to remind you that this type of breathing exercise will help really relieve stress, and will actually make you feel more sleepy, and it will help you to sleep better, and it will take you into a deeper sleep if you're not a deep sleeper. I personally have tried it, and I'm trying it every day, so it works for me. So I hope it works for all of you who are having difficulty with sleeping. Definitely, I would add some music too. So feel free to add some music as well to your breathing exercises. And again, to remind you of the breathing exercise that you can do any time of the day, just to bring you back to focus, and bring you back and make you feel more grounded, and bring you back to your tasks and performances, is the breathing for 4 seconds, inhaling for 4 seconds and exhaling for 4 seconds. And you can do that for a couple of rounds, for as much as you want. And this will actually it will make you feel more grounded. It will reduce your rapid breathing. It will reduce your rapid heart rate, because some of us who have anxiety also have a rapid heart rate, and this is one of the symptoms. So it will help reduce your fast heart rate, and it will bring you back, and it will help you to perform better with your tasks or at work or at university. Now, if you don't have any more questions, I would like to thank you all for joining us at Live from Home on this stress management session. And I have my colleague who is writing in, who is typing in the website that you can go in and take other different webinars. And it's not only about self-development. There are a lot of different categories that you can take or different kinds of sessions. And of course, you can do that from home. Thank you all so much again. And Ramadan Kareem from myself and from the team at Emirates Foundation. And I hope you have a lovely day ahead. Have a good day, and take care, and stay safe, and stay home.